Imagine living in a quiet, picturesque town where everyone knows each other, a place where danger feels distant, almost non-existent. Now imagine waking up to the horrifying news that one of your neighbors, a young mother with a promising future, has vanished. 5 days later, she's found, lifeless, discarded, like she meant nothing. This is the chilling case of Samira Watkins, a devoted mother, a dental assistant student, and a woman whose life was taken in the most unthinkable way, betrayed by someone she thought she could trust. Her story is a haunting reminder that even in the safest places, danger can lurk just beneath the surface. Welcome to True Crime Files, where we uncover the stories that keep you up at night, the ones that demand answers and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. If you're drawn to the mysteries of the human condition and the pursuit of justice, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We delve deep into the most gripping cases every week, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Tonight, we're taking you back to October 2009. Samira Watkins was a vibrant 25-year-old woman whose life revolved around her 4-year-old son and her dreams of building a better future. But her disappearance and the horrifying truth of what happened next would shake her community to its core. Stay with us as we unravel this shocking tale of love, betrayal, and a fight for justice. And remember, if you have any theories or insights, share them in the comments below. Your voice might just spark a conversation that brings light to the darkest corners of these cases. Pensacola, Florida, known for its stunning beaches, its proud naval heritage, and its close-knit community. But in the fall of 2009, this peaceful town became the setting for an unimaginable tragedy. It was the kind of story that gripped the hearts of everyone who heard it, the kind that leaves an indelible mark on a community. Samira Watkins was 25 years old, full of life, and fiercely dedicated to her 4-year-old son. A single mother, she worked tirelessly to create a brighter future, attending classes to become a dental assistant. Her friends described her as kind, driven, and loving, a woman with big dreams and an even bigger heart. In October 2009, Samira discovered she was pregnant. Though the news brought challenges, she embraced her growing family with optimism. But this pregnancy also brought complications, ones that would tragically intertwine with her fate. The father of her unborn child was Zachary Littleton, a Navy police officer stationed at Pensacola Naval Air Station. What most didn't know was that Zachary had a secret life. He was married with a child of his own, and his relationship with Samira was hidden in the shadows. As her pregnancy progressed, tension grew. Samira hoped Zachary would take responsibility for the baby, but the pressure mounted. Behind closed doors, there were arguments and ultimatums. What should have been a time of joy became a source of turmoil. October 29, 2009. That morning began like any other. Samira dropped off her son at daycare and went about her day. But as the hours passed, friends and family noticed something was wrong. Calls went unanswered, and she didn't return to pick up her son. By the end of the day, panic set in. The community rallied, launching search efforts and spreading the word. Her face was plastered across news broadcasts, and her family held on to hope. But as days turned into nights, their worst fears began to feel all too real. 5 days later, that hope was shattered. Near the Pensacola Naval Air Station, a duffel bag was found discarded in the woods. Inside was Samira's lifeless body. The discovery was a devastating blow. Who would do this to her? Why was her life stolen in such a callous, calculated manner? questions swirled, and fingers began pointing. But one name quickly rose to the surface: Zachary Littleton. As investigators dug deeper, troubling details began to emerge. They learned of Zachary's double life, his reluctance to embrace fatherhood, and the mounting tensions between him and Samira. They discovered internet searches on his computer, searches that spoke of desperation and a dark plan. He had searched for abortion clinics. He'd looked up methods to accelerate human decomposition. And surveillance footage placed him near the crime scene on the night of her disappearance. The evidence was circumstantial but chilling. As Samira's family grieved, investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle. Zachary Littleton denied any involvement, claiming he last saw Samira after an argument where she asked him to leave her car. But the evidence painted a different picture. This case was about more than just evidence. It was about a mother, a daughter, and a friend whose life was stolen too soon. And as the trial began, it became clear that justice would not come easily. We're just getting started. If you found yourself captivated by this case, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to True Crime Files. Your support helps us continue to uncover the stories that matter. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think drove someone to commit such a heinous act? Let us know. We want to hear from you. As the investigation into Samira Watkins's tragic death intensified, all eyes turned to Zachary Littleton. The Navy police officer who led a seemingly honorable life was now at the center of a horrifying case. But what exactly tied him to this unspeakable crime? To understand the evidence, we need to walk through the days leading up to and following Samira's disappearance. Investigators uncovered a series of text messages between Samira and Zachary. These weren't the loving exchanges you might expect between expectant parents. Instead, they were filled with tension. Samira wanted Zachary to take responsibility for the baby, but he pushed back, urging her to consider abortion. The pressure mounted as Samira remained resolute. She would keep her baby, no matter the cost. On the night of October 28, 2009, Zachary was seen on surveillance footage at a local convenience store. He purchased cleaning supplies, including Clorox wipes and garbage bags. These items would later become key pieces of evidence. The next morning, Samira dropped her son off at daycare as usual. It was a day like any other, except that it would be her last. Witnesses reported seeing her with Zachary that afternoon. What happened next remains a mystery, but by evening, Samira was no longer answering calls or texts. 5 days later, a Navy patrol officer stumbled upon a duffel bag near the shoreline of the Pensacola Naval Air Station. Inside was Samira's body. Her hands were bound, and a Clorox wipe was found near her remains, eerily similar to the brand Zachary had purchased days earlier. Forensic evidence began to tell its own story. Fibers from the duffel bag matched those found in Zachary's home. DNA from one of Samira's earrings, which had been ripped off during the struggle, was also found in his residence. These details painted a grim picture, one that Zachary vehemently denied. During his interrogation, Zachary admitted to being with Samira on the day she disappeared, but insisted that she dropped him off after a brief argument. His alibi: he spent the evening with friends watching a football game. However, none of his friends could corroborate his story. As the trial began, the prosecution laid out their case. They highlighted Zachary's motives: fear of his secret relationship being exposed, pressure from Samira to support their unborn child, and his reluctance to accept responsibility. The evidence against him was largely circumstantial, but it was compelling. The prosecution presented Zachary's internet history as a chilling piece of evidence. Searches for how to induce an abortion and how to accelerate decomposition raised serious questions about his intentions. These weren't the actions of a man who planned to start a family. They were the behaviors of someone plotting to erase a problem. Zachary's defense argued that the case against him was purely circumstantial. They pointed out that no direct evidence placed him at the crime scene and that the DNA and fibers could have been transferred during his visits to Samira's home. The defense painted Zachary as a victim of coincidence and overzealous investigators. Samira's family took the stand, sharing heartfelt testimonies about the kind of person she was, a loving mother, a hard worker, and someone who always put others before herself. Their pain was palpable as they described the void left by her death. After a 3-day trial, the jury deliberated for just 3 hours. They returned with a verdict that would bring some measure of justice, guilty of first-degree murder. Zachary Littleton was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While the verdict provided closure, it couldn't erase the pain or bring Samira back. Her son, now growing up without his mother, serves as a living reminder of the life she worked so hard to build. Her family continues to honor her memory, ensuring that her story is never forgotten. Samira Watkins' case is a tragic example of how quickly a life can be taken and how secrets can unravel even the most polished facades. It's a story of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately, the pursuit of justice. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you think the evidence against Zachary Littleton was strong enough for a conviction? Share your opinions in the comments below. And if you want to support our work, bringing these stories to light, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to True Crime Files. Your engagement helps us continue exploring the cases that deserve to be told. We've taken you through the haunting story of Samira Watkins, a devoted mother, a determined student, and a young woman whose life was tragically cut short. Now, it's time to hear from you. Cases like this are more than just stories. They are reminders of the fragile balance between trust, love, and betrayal. Let's dig deeper together. What do you think about the case so far? Do you believe the jury got it right with Zachary Littleton's conviction? Or do you think the evidence against him, while troubling, was still circumstantial? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We're eager to hear your perspective. Let's talk about motive. Do you think Zachary's actions stemmed purely from the fear of his double life being exposed, or was it something more complex? Was it a desperate attempt to regain control, or something darker, a premeditated plan to silence Samira forever? What's your theory? And what about the role of technology in this case? Text messages and internet search histories were pivotal pieces of evidence. Do you think this digital trail sealed Zachary's fate, or would the case have been just as strong without it? Let us know what you think. How much weight should technology hold in criminal investigations? Samira's family fought tirelessly for justice, and their courage in sharing her story brought this case to light. If you were in their position, would you have handled things differently? How do families navigate the balance between seeking justice and coping with unimaginable grief? We'd love to hear your thoughts on the strength of Samira's family throughout this ordeal. This case also highlights the role of community. Pensacola came together to search for Samira and support her family during their darkest days. If something like this happened in your community, how would you react? Would you join the search, spread awareness, or take action in other ways? Let's talk about the power of communities in seeking justice. And then there's the defense. Zachary's team argued that the case against him was circumstantial. What's your take on this? Do you think his defense team made a strong case, or was the evidence against him too overwhelming? If you were on the jury, how would you have voted, and why? Finally, let's consider the bigger picture. This case raises critical questions about relationships, accountability, and the devastating consequences of secrets. What lessons do you think we, as a society, can take from Samira's story? How do we prevent similar tragedies in the future? Share your insights. We're here to have these tough conversations with you. Your voice matters. These discussions help keep Samira's memory alive and shine a light on the issues that need our attention. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to True Crime Files. We're building a community of thinkers, advocates, and truth seekers, and we'd love for you to join us. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. And remember, your input isn't just a reaction. It's a part of the larger pursuit of truth. Together, we uncover, we question, and we remember. As we bring this story to a close, we're left with a mixture of emotions: anger, sadness, and a lingering sense of injustice. Samira Watkins was more than the victim of a senseless crime. She was a mother, a dreamer, and a vibrant soul whose life was stolen far too soon. Her story reminds us of the fragility of life and the importance of seeking justice, no matter how difficult the path may be. It's a call to action for all of us, to protect, to speak out, and to never let the memory of victims like Samira fade away. While a verdict was reached, and Zachary Littleton will spend the rest of his life behind bars, this case leaves us with questions about trust, accountability, and the deep scars left behind for Samira's loved ones. Justice may have been served, but the void left by her absence can never truly be filled. Now it's your turn to join the conversation. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you think the justice system worked, or do you see gaps in how cases like these are handled? Let us know in the comments below. Your insights can bring new perspectives to these important discussions. If this story moved you, if it compelled you to think more deeply about the fragility of justice and the strength of those left behind, take a moment to like this video. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode of True Crime Files. We're committed to sharing the stories that matter, uncovering the truth, and honoring the lives that deserve to be remembered. For those who might be facing challenges in their own relationships or know someone who is, we've provided a list of resources in the description below. Don't hesitate to reach out. Help is always available. Samira's legacy lives on through her son, her family, and the community that fought so hard to bring her justice. By sharing her story, we ensure that her voice continues to echo, reminding us of the strength found in love and the unyielding pursuit of truth. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life and legacy of Samira Watkins. Stay safe, stay curious, and always remember, behind every headline is a life, a story, and a truth waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, this is True Crime Files, where every story deserves to be told.